Hey now, cats, we're back again this week on the Balls from Ellwood show, and this week we have an incredible show lined up for you. I have an incredible guest. Xtina, would you want to tell the audience a little bit about, hey, what we're about and what's coming up today?
Well, yeah, we are all about punk rock, ska,
Oi, oi, oi.
and horror movies. We also delve into, pop culture stuff from our childhoods, aka the 80s. And, maybe even to the current times. Whatever floats our boats, essentially. And hopefully yours as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about my true crime segment.
Oh, yeah, you can't forget about that. Every week, this lady puts together the most fucked up story of the week. And we call it a little thing called Xtina's Depravity Corner. So that always blows my mind up. We have a special guest this week. Would you like to tell them who it is?
It is Scott Farkas, otherwise known as
Zack Ward. Also known as he was Dave on the show Titus with Christopher Titus for 3 years. He's writer, producer, director. He was in the movie Postal, Uwe Boll. The list goes on and on. All around great dude. We got that coming up later, but let's get right to it. I got some horror news, I got some reviews, I got some stuff I'd like to talk about, so I'm going to get right to it.
You do that.
There's some Blu Ray releases I'm excited about. I like this company called Vinegar Syndrome. There's an old 80s movie called Fade to Black. They're actually going to bring the 4K in October. I think that's good. It's a cool little revenge tale. It's about this kid. He's kind of a nerd. And he ends up, often people with classic scenes, he'll dress up like classic scenes from different horror movies. It was a really cool kind of, underappreciated flick, so I'm glad they're giving that the treatment. One of my favorite, action movies of all time is it's a little Asian flick called Versus. And Arrow Video's bringing that out in October as well, so you can pre-order that now, so I'm super excited about that. That's like it's just undescribable if you've never seen it. It's like it starts out as a Yakuza movie, then it turns into a zombie movie, then it turns into a samurai movie, and it just, I know it sounds crazy, but it works. It's really, really cool.
Cool.
Other than that, I got to watch a little documentary. Anybody that is anybody, if you are in fact a lover of the genre that we are, everybody knows who Tom Savini is, especially us. We live we live close to Pittsburgh. He's pretty much a local legend. I've had some less than savory, run-ins with Savini. I've always loved his work. I admire his work since I was a kid. I always will. I've always wanted to have a good experience with Tom Savini, but it's yet to happen. So, but that being said, Shudder has this little documentary called Smoke and Mirrors, and it's the story of Tom Savini. And after watching this film, I kind of got a little more appreciation as to why he is the way he is. I mean, it's not really an excuse. He is the couple times I've met him, hasn't really been the nicest or friendliest. But now, if you watch this documentary, you sort of get it. I said,
sure he has a lot of PTSD. He was served in Nam. In fact, that gave him the inspiration to create
yes. In fact, that's why his effects are so good, because he was over there and seen what that stuff really looked like in real life, which surely took a toll mentally. But I highly recommend it. I'd have to say I was really entertained, and it actually kind of gave me a new perspective on. I'm still waiting for that good experience, man. I'm in my lifetime. I'm hoping to have a good one, but. Thus far, 3 times I've met him, 4 times, and it's never been good. So, I'm holding out for that good experience, and now I sort of get why he is the way he is. So, it was an entertaining, it covered every facet, like his childhood, all his work. It broke down different movies that he's did, worked on. I thought it was really interesting. It touched on Creepshow, Friday the 13th, Tales from the Dark Side, as you see with my delicious new Fright Rag shirt. All the different eras, and plus it talked about Pittsburgh a lot, which I thought was kind of cool. There was a lot of local color, so good. That actually made me happy as well. So I actually can honestly, without any guilt, recommend Smoke and Mirrors, the story of Tom Savini. Tom, still waiting for that nice interaction with you, man. But it's funny because there was even people in the documentaries like, I first met him and he was a total dickhead.
Yeah, I think
and
that's
now we're best friends. So it's like, come on, man, we got the dickhead part down. Let's just be best friends now.
And look, I get it. You got to go to those like Comic-Cons and
nerd conventions. I get it.
People suck, and you don't want to deal with people. I get it to an extent, but you're there to make money. You're there because people, appreciate you. You're supposed to be an actor. Act, pretend, put it on.
He was Sex Machine, man. I'll give him that. That was pretty good. So. Yeah. But yeah, I check it out. It's on Shudder right now. That being said, a sequel that I just came out of nowhere that I even knew I really needed or existed. I don't think you've seen that with me, but I watched a little movie called The Babysitter a few years ago with Samara Weaving. And she's a babysitter, and she's good friends with the kid she's babysitting, and he walks into them doing a satanic ritual. So they have to kill him. So they're going to chase him down and kill him.
Oh my goodness.
This sequel picks up directly after the first one, and real honestly, I thought it was kind of a dumb idea, and I didn't know how they're going to pull it off. It's
She's in this too?
Okay,
you don't want to give it away.
I don't want to spoiler alert. I don't want to spoil anything. Okay. She might be, she might not. That being said, I thought it was kind of a dumb idea, but I tell you what, it's kind of a fun movie. There's some pretty fun gore effects in it. Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's a pretty decent horror comedy. I didn't think it'd be good at all. It ended up entertaining me for 90. It was an adequate time waster. Right. So I have to say,
you give it 2 balls up.
2 balls up. Yeah. I mean, but here's something that was actually very disappointing that you can actually help me touch on.
Okay.
We watched a trailer. I think we announced on the show last week we were going to watch this, and I was pretty excited because it had Ozark Mark in it, man.
Mark Menchaca.
I like that Menchaca dude. He's pretty good.
He's I can't remember his character's name even on Ozark, but he's in the first season.
But he's so good. Like everybody on that show is so good. Yeah, and I'd watch anything just because he's in it.
Right.
Which that's kind of the big draw. I thought the trailer looked good.
It's not a great flick. It's not a bad flick. And then I was excited because my girl Yardley Smith was the executive producer. She voices the character of Lisa Simpson on The Simpsons, and I think has a hand in producing on that show as well. But she also does a podcast that I'm a huge fan of called Small Town Dicks, and she's the executive producer of that. And so, I had high. I guess our hopes were a little higher than they should have been, perhaps. But it's it's a flick of like basically a stalker, and he's the stalker, and it was interesting too because it's him and this chick, and they're basically the only 2 people in the movie.
It's just like cat and mouse. It's nothing you've never seen before.
You've seen it all.
That's
before.
The problem, and he's such a good actor, and he started out really sinister.
Yeah,
and then he goes off the rails in the like just hokey, ridiculous tone. So
wasn't great.
That's definitely not 2 balls up. That's not even
half a ball up.
Half a ball up. It makes a better trailer than a movie.
Yeah, for sure. So. Yeah, if you're real bored, watch it. Because if you like him, but
other than that, it was a bit disappointing. But something I'm actually looking forward to that I hope is not disappointing is on October 23rd. We have a brand new episode of The Last Drive-In. We have a new Joe Bob special, Joe Bob's Halloween Hideaway on Shudder.
Yay!
We don't know what the movies are going to be though, but I don't know. There's a cabin on the artwork, so I'm really hoping there might be Evil Dead 2, maybe. I don't know. Could be Cabin in the Woods. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. But happy to have another special coming up. And speaking of other new surprises, on October 26th, they hit us with a brand new episode of Creepshow on Shudder, and it's completely animated. It's going to be 2 stories. I think one's Joe Hill, and I don't know what the other one is, but I'm super pumped for that.
That's pretty cool. Have they ever done an all animated?
No.
That's pretty interesting.
Yes, that's going to be cool. And then they started filming season 2, so we'll see that sometime in 2021. So.
Cool.
And lastly, before we get to your Depravity Corner, we get to see the full trailer for The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is October 9th on Netflix. Mike Flanagan, it looks super spooky. New family, new house, new haunting. If you love the Hill House, Legend of Haunting of Hill House, I don't know. This looks like it's going to give it a run for its money. So I'm looking forward to that. And
pumped for that.
Let's just get right into it. You know her. You love her. It's everybody's favorite part of the show here. Yeah. Xtina It's Depravity Corner this week. Do you have a fucked up story for us this week?
Boy, do I ever. I'm always looking for something like kind of kooky and interesting. And so our story today comes from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Ooh, Rio de Janeiro.
How exciting is that, right?
Very exciting, yes.
Very exciting. So we have the wonderful judge from Rio de Janeiro. Her name is... Oh boy, what is her name?
Her name is Oh Boy?
Well, she has quite a name. Are we ready for this?
Yes.
It is. I know what's coming after I say it. Flordelis dos Santos de Sousa.
Whoa. Flordelis?
Yeah. But most people know her as Flordelis because not only is she a Supreme Court judge in Rio de Janeiro, she is a gospel star. A gospel singing star.
Oh yeah, I have her CDs. How did I forget?
You did. I knew it. Anyhow, here's what's great about her. She is such a humanist that she adopted, 55 children. Who does that? Who adopts 55 children?
I can't handle one.
Right. So, that's kooky. And
55?
55 children. Now, this woman is 59 years old, so she's pushing 60. She adopted 30 of them, apparently on her own, when she was 30. You're going to love this. This is my favorite part of the whole thing. She adopted Anderson de Cuarmo at the age of 14. And then if you wait long enough, you can marry them.
What?
So this now became her husband.
What?
Yeah. When she was...
what? That's legal?
Hey, man, it's Brazil. Who knows? She married him in 1999 after having adopted him and raised him from the age of 14. Okay? But apparently we didn't love him so much anymore because we had a handful of our 55 adult children kill him for you.
Why would you just break up?
Exactly. Because I guess, that would be too easy. So she plotted a murder in June of 2019. He was shot outside his home. One of her adopted children, 18-year-old Lucas dos Santos do Carmo, pleaded guilty to the murder and also accused one of his adopted brothers, 38-year-old Flavio dos Santos. Flavio. Not to be confused with Fabio. Anyhow, they finally just, a year or so later, are getting charges against her for orchestrating the whole thing. I guess they figured maybe the kids just did it on their own, but apparently they ratted mom out. And so apparently she can't be arrested because she holds parliamentary immunity. Isn't that interesting? But they pushed for her status as a member of Congress to be stripped. Now, I'm pretty sure in America, they'd arrest you. I
don't know. You never seen Lethal Weapon 2, obviously.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Diplomatic immunity.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's very strange. So it'll be interesting to follow this story and see what happened. But I'm trying to think why. It said they co-founded a church together. And I'm trying to understand why she did it. It said she wanted... I don't know. She just, I guess got sick of him. Who knows? But...
how would you approach that to the other kids?
I know. How do you say,
whoever kills your brother gets this pussy?
Yeah. Is that how that goes?
Probably, I think
I would imagine.
How else would you coerce them?
I should have done more research.
Hershey kisses and this pussy. That's exactly how it went.
Judge. Let me see what else it says here. But yeah, she. It's just crazy to think that you could just, not only marry your. Child, I guess, essentially, but she can kill him too. So I thought that was pretty wild. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, how do you surely she can't get away with, I mean, granted she didn't pull the trigger, but okay, strip her of her judge rights. I think that's pretty obvious that they should do that. But like, why would you not get some sort of jail time? That seems a little, but again, diplomatic immunity, like you said. Yeah, I don't know, an interesting story to follow, but I thought the craziest part of that whole story was that she married her adopted son, and then she decided to kill him after all these years.
Secret lovers, that's what we are.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, maybe she sings that song on her next album.
Yeah.
Look out for it, Floridia.
It's dropping next month, Floridia.
Floridia, there you go. So check that out if you're in the mood for some kooky depravity. That's, pretty much all I got today. But look out for more, and it'll be coming your way. Next up, we have this wonderful interview. Before we do that, though, I feel like we have something maybe we might want to tell the viewers. We are getting married next month.
We are.
And yesterday, we had a little preview to our secret wedding location spot, which, I think we can unveil it at this time. We won't tell them when we're getting married, then people won't come and stalk us, because we know we have all these fans of the Balls from Ellwood show.
Yeah, I know, you guys. Relax,
we don't want you, stalking us. But it is next month, we'll give you that much. But we'll put up, I think, a couple pictures from our secret location of our exciting soon-to-be nuptials here.
It's actually an iconic horror location. Was where we're getting married.
Might recognize it.
Might recognize it if you.
We'll give you a little side-by-side. Xtina did a little
something.
reenactment along with my kid Riley. So it'll be a little fun for you to see. Balls took some amazing pictures. So
I'll throw those up. You guys can check them out. Try to guess where we're at.
Where it is. Yeah. I think that'll be fun for the.
I think so
folks.
too.
So there you go.
Other than that, let's just get right into. Do you have anything else before we go to?
I think I'm fresh out.
Well, let's get right into the let's get right into the interview with the man, the myth, the legend, Zack Ward. Hope you like it, cats.
Enjoy.
Hey now, cats, we're back again this week on the Balls from Ellwood show, and with me this week I have someone I've always been a huge fan of. You may know him as the bully from A Christmas Story, Scott Farkas. You might know him as his role as Dave on Christopher Titus's show Titus. You might even know him as the postal guy for Movie Bowl's movie Postal, and countless others. He's an actor, he's a producer, he's a writer, he's a director. Please welcome the man, the myth, the legend, Zack Ward. How you doing, everybody?
I hope I live up to the fanfare. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Thank you for the kind words.
I am doing great, man. I'm a huge fan of your work, but before we get to that, I always wanted to talk to you. I'd love to hear about you. Can you tell me a little about your life growing up? Did you grow up in Canada?
I did. Yeah, my mom's an actress. I was raised by a single mom. My older brother and myself traveled around Canada and the United States following my mom as she went from job to job. So I went to a lot of different schools, 8 different schools before junior high, and then I started acting. I wanted to start acting when I was about 8 years old, just watching some Shakespearean plays that my mom was working in, and they inspired me to want to try it. And then I started doing commercial auditions, and it took about a year. I got my first commercial, and then I did 2 or 3 commercials, and then I auditioned for A Christmas Story, and then I got the job. So that was pretty awesome. So
what kind of kid was you?
What's that?
What kind of kid was you growing up? Were you quiet? Were you like the class clown? I mean,
I was a little bit both because I didn't have any friends because I traveled so much. So my friends were books and comic books and books, and but yeah, because I went to so many different schools, I got teased a lot as a new kid with red hair and with a weird name back in the day. And when you get teased a lot from different people, you hear the same insults over and over again. So when someone calls you Carrot Top for like the 30th time, you kind of had time to prepare a comeback, which is the benefit to it. You probably remember when you were a kid and you get upset and then you walk home and you're doing the sniffles and you're like, you know what I call him? I tell, like that thing. Well, of course I did that.
Plenty of those days, trust me.
Right? But see, I had lots of those as well, but to the point where I had practiced what my comeback would have been. And then when I went to a new school, and they didn't know that I had heard this line 300 times, and they called me Carrot Top, and I believe this was my response: Carrot Tops are green, or can't your mom afford vegetables?
Oh, bam!
Dude, bring the heat. And then you started realizing how comedy worked as a social lubricant, and you didn't have to be good looking or strong or tough to be funny. I did get in a lot of fights as a kid, but that's because being the new kid. But then I started using comedy to break up the situations and make myself ingratiated with strangers. So I was never the bully, I was the bullied. And then at a certain point, I just got really good at punching people in the face as a young kid.
Well,
I did.
It's a happy ending.
Yeah, you know, my dad was a boxer, and so when I was a kid, he was showing me how to hold up and punch properly. So when the other kids were doing the chest bumpy thing, I would punch them in the face. So that would work. Yeah, so it was fun for me. Playing Scott Farkas was kind of revenge on the bullies that I used to get. I was imitating those guys. So to all those bullies out there, thanks for being such little pricks that I could imitate you and turn it into a career.
That's an amazing story, man. I mean, was Christmas Story your first big break? Would you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it was my first feature film I ever did, but in the sense of it being a big break, you know, it's the perception of it is not the same thing as the reality. So I did the movie. I worked at it for about 5 weeks, and I made $5,000 for the entire time, and it was a great experience. I'm still friends with those guys to this day. And then the movie. Go ahead.
Is this true? I had heard that you were actually cast to be Grover first, and then you ended up being.
No. You kind of got it right. You kind of got it wrong. So I was always Scott Farkas. But originally, Grover Dill was going to be the bully, and Scott Farkas was going to be the sidekick.
Oh, I see.
And then when Bob Clark met me and saw that I was about a foot taller than Yano Anaya, who plays Grover Dill, he just swapped our lines. So I got all his lines, he got all my lines.
I've always been a fan of Bob Clark because since Black Christmas, man. What was it like? He's just an amazing man.
He was a very sweet person, a very sweet, kind man, very, very patient, very loving. I try to live up to the bar that he set as a director, trying to be that accommodating and supportive of my cast and my crew. He was a great guy. He was a sweet, sweet man. I miss him all the time. So, I mean, I got to do that film, which was amazing, but it wasn't really a break because in the sense that nobody cared. You know, the movie came out. It didn't really do well in theaters. It was there for about 2 weeks. And I lived in Canada. I wasn't invited to the premiere or really even told about it. It just kind of happened. And I took a girl to go see the movie, a girl I had a crush on. And I was trying to hold her hand in the theater. It didn't happen. And afterwards, we were walking outside, and she's a French girl named Mimi. And I said, so, you know, you like the movie? Trying to be like, I'm shy. I'm like 14 years old. And she goes, no, I don't like this so much. Bye-bye. She just gets on the subway and leaves. So I think in some ways it was a fantastic introduction to getting kicked in the dick when, you know, the rest of the world thinks like you're in a movie, everybody's going to blow smoke up your ass and be nice to you. And I'm in Canada and nobody cares. So, it wasn't really a break the way people perceive the idea or concept of break. It has turned into something that's been woven into the fabric of my life. And it would be very hard to imagine my existence without it now because it's just been such an ongoing process with my life.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Is there ever a time where people, like, I'm sure you're easily recognizable when people yell things out from the movie at you all the time, right? Do you ever do you ever just get sick of, like, you know, knowing you as that character?
Yeah, right around Christmas time. Like, right? Because usually, well, not this year because fucking COVID.
Yeah, COVID Christmas is going to be a little different, I think.
Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of drinking and suicide prevention hotlines.
Well, maybe it won't be much different this year.
Nice. Usually, I would do charity fundraisers around the country through the beginning, middle of November through to right around before Christmas. And go to different cities and raise money for Boys and Girls Foundation or bully prevention or local hospital or whatever. So by the time I hit right around Christmas, I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's been a month and a half.
You're probably so burnout. I mean,
yeah, it's always the exact same questions, and it's, you know, some people are lovely, some people are just great, some people are really stupid, and they ask stupid questions. My favorite stupid question is.
See, you just got to my next question. Thank you.
Okay. My favorite stupid questions are, was that your real blood? And I say, yes. What we do in movies is we beat children until they bleed. What is wrong with you? Or when he said, how did they make your eyes yellow? And I say, well, they weren't yellow. It was just the narrator saying that they were yellow. And then the person says, no, they were yellow. I'm like, okay.
I know, you can't, what can you do? I mean, you're like, I was there, but I mean, obviously.
Yeah, it was, those are my two favorite stupid questions.
What's your fondest memory about working on a film? And what's your least favorite memory?
Least favorite? It was cold and wet. So you're working outside when in the snow, and then you are freezing. So you go inside, and then it starts to thaw, and it soaks your clothing and your feet. And you go back outside, and they freeze. That sucks. The fake snow, like that shot, that beautiful shot outside of the Ralphie's house, right?
Yeah.
The Parker house, and the snow is falling, and it's just beautiful. It's all fake. That's shaving cream and battens of foam, and back in the day they used potato flakes and little chopped up pieces of plastic. When you get the plastic in your eye, you cannot get it out. It's brutal. I mean, really, that's just being whiny because it was wet and cold and whatever. But I don't really have any bad memories of the process. My favorite memory would be the first time. So we're shooting in Cleveland, and there's no snow anywhere. It hadn't snowed at all. And the neighborhood that the Parker house was in, it was lower economic tier, shall we say.
Sure.
And all the yards are brown and dead, and with like crap is left on them, and it just looks like Chechnya. You know, it just looks like, it looks bad. Hopefully I don't offend any Chechnyans. I apologize. And then we walked to set one day, and you come around the corner, and that house has been turned into this winter wonderland. All the icicles on the tree are fake. So people had to get up in a scissor lift and coat these things in glycerin and different glues to make it look like this sparkling thing. And it was really the first time I'd ever seen movie magic, you know?
Huh.
And it really took my breath away. I really just stood there agog, just amazed by the whole process.
What was the best experience you took from, you know, when working on that film?
Bob Clark's patience and sense of humor, and now as I got older, I appreciate it even more, because so I was doing, I think it's the scene where I say, listen punk kid, when I tell you to come, you better come. What, you cry baby, cry baby. And I don't remember what I was doing. It was, you know, it's a couple of years ago. So, but I was fucking up. Oh, am I allowed to curse, or is that going to be a problem for you?
Fuck yeah, dude. Let it rip.
Cool. So, sorry, kids. Ask your parents. So I was messing up, and for whatever reason, I was not landing my lines. And Bob did not get frustrated or yell at me. He walked over and basically shut everything down. And he just walked over and sat with me. And was like, okay, hey, let's run your line. What's the line? I would say it. He goes, okay. Oh, one more time. Okay. Say it really fast. All right. Say it really slow. Say it silly. Now jump up and down and say it. Okay. One more time. All right. Can you say it to me like you're really angry? Can you say it to me like you're sad? So he made a game out of it.
Oh, neat.
And, you know, because it's the thing that happens when you're screwing up and you got 80 people staring at you, you can start to vapor lock. You can start to just get worse and worse and worse and worse. And he took that momentum going down the rabbit hole, and he took it wrong. He took it the right way. So the way he took care of me and this crew, he got the shot that he wanted. He got the character that he wanted, and he didn't have to be a dick to get it. He was just a really kind, beautiful, sweet mentor and a lovely friend.
I'm as I said before, our show's primarily about horror films. I feel like you're a horror buff because, I mean, you've directed.
Yeah.
Wrote. Let me ask you this. I know you did Restoration 2006. That was your directorial debut. Are you at what age did you discover the horror genre, and can you tell me what your favorite and least favorite horror film is?
Okay, yeah. I was probably about 5, and it was Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh, nice.
Right? Come on, dude. That's a sick movie.
That's a sick movie for that age, for sure.
Bro, it's a sick movie now.
It sure is. Death Incorporated.
Yeah. Dude, it's sorry, I'm just making sure my phone shuts up. Yeah, it's a crazy movie. It's one of those movies that you watch, and at the end of it, you're like, I don't know how I feel about all this. I'm very tired all of a sudden. I'm overwhelmed, you know. My older brother would try to get me to watch films that he's a cinemaphile, and he would try to get me to watch movies that were outside the scope of my age, my demographic. So I was watching the Deer Hunter when I was 6.
Yeah, see, I have the same kind of thing. Like, my parents were always, you know, they wouldn't just like throw me in front of the TV though. Like, if I had questions, they would actually sit down and we would talk about it. And you know, I was watching films that were I would probably way more mature for my age as well. And I mean, I grew up fine. I think I haven't, you know, I don't have a pile of bodies in the backyard yet. So I mean, yeah, I mean,
it was that
story of how they chased the dragon. You know, like there's always that first taste, you know, and then you're always trying to chase the dragon to find that feeling.
Yeah.
The first movie, I love that, man. Like I love hearing everybody. So that's a good choice.
And my mom being an actress, she would take me to different types of movies. So like I was maybe 7 or 8, I think, and we went to go see La Cage aux Folles, which is the French version of the movie The Birdcage with Robin Williams.
Oh, nice.
And so, but I'm watching it in French with subtitles, not the typical parental thing, you know, and I'm laughing my ass off. It's really funny. It's damn funny. So I got exposed to a lot of different worlds of cinema and storytelling and artistic interpretations of the world. And so, yeah, that's not really an answer, but there you go.
What's your least favorite film?
I don't know. I don't know what's my least. Well,
did you ever walk out of a film?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I walked out of, what was it? The one with Adam Sandler where they're adults going camping or they're playing like kids or something. Grown-ups.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I can't. This is too fucking stupid. I can't put up with it. It's just, and as I get older, I'm less and less patient. You know, if you're dealing with a low-budget indie film, I'll give them a lot of leeway. You're dealing with a big, giant Marvel movie or sorry, I lost my words there. If you're dealing with a tentpole type of film, a blockbuster,
absolutely.
it better be fucking perfect for the money you're spending. Like,
exactly.
I remember seeing The Force Awakens, and I fell asleep. It was so boring, and it was so predictable. And it was funny because I turned to my wife. I'm like, this movie fucking sucks. It has no balls. It is just pablum, and it is going to be the way of the future because no one wants to put any heart in anything. And it was so funny. People who were arguing with me, they're like, yeah, it's a good movie. I'm like, no, it's fucking not. It's garbage. They're like, yeah, but it made a lot of money. I'm like, oh, so box office dictates the value of the film? Well, yeah. Okay, so Blade Runner lost money at the box office. So it's a bad movie? I would say it's a really good movie. And then you cut to 8 months later where everybody starts saying, yeah, okay, The Force Awakens is pretty stupid and pretty shitty. I'm like, thank you. And they spent $50,000 a second on that film.
You can't fuck with the original trilogy anyway. You're never going to recapture lightning in a bottle. I don't even know why you would try.
Well, but actually, the thing is, no, I agree with you, but it's also the way the stakes are played out. So think about the original movie, and you got your classic hidden prince fallacy with Luke Skywalker, right?
All right.
So he's the orphan who's got his uncle and aunt, and then we get to know them a little bit. They're patient, they're loving, but they're stern. And then he goes to town, he comes back, and they're fucking dead. They're not distant dead. They're smoking corpses, right? So you go, holy shit, there's danger in the world. There's real danger in the world. What do they have in this Force Awakens? They have two people talking in a tent. We don't fucking know who they are. Then we have the stormtroopers show up and shine their laser beams at people and shoot them in the background of people we've never met and don't know. Who cares, dude? Who fucking gives a shit? That's an extra from like Total Recall. I could give a fuck.
Dude, I almost feel like I need to hear you review more movies.
and they did it, and they took something away from children who were watching the film. They took giving a shit away from the kids because they wanted to pander to the widest scope of the middle class so that there could be not the middle class. We don't have one in America anymore. What we have is a bunch of parents who want to put the kids in front of the TV and not have an opinion that they can litigate over. So nobody ever gets hurt. Everybody's upset with anger and violence. And the people who get shot with the little flashlights in the background, you don't know what the fuck those are. Like, Disney has created a world of no real heroes because there are no real villains. Now, I loved Avengers Endgame. I thought it was great. I love watching Tony Stark die. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was timely. I thought it was needed. But there's so much of this that is this fucking heartless garbage because nobody's risking anything. And I think that belittles the human experience, whereas films are supposed to elevate the person who tries harder to get something done. Yeah, it was cool to read comic books and dream of being Spider-Man when I was a kid. Now I can't fucking get away from it, man.
It is saturated. I mean, that's why I like shows like The Boys. I mean,
Dude, did you watch that episode? The new one that came out on Friday?
That's the only. I'm not caught up. That's the only one I haven't seen yet. I'm going to watch it tonight.
I don't want to say. There is one moment. I won't say what it is. There's one moment where Homelander does this one thing, and I'm at home. I literally went, "Oh damn!"
Dude, like, there's already been a couple moments like that.
Oh, last season?
Holy shit, man!
He scares the shit out of me.
Talk about it. That dude's a hell of an actor, man.
Like, oh my god!
I think if I met him in real life, I'd probably shit my pants.
I think that's the safest option. Just crap and pretend you're already dead. Oh, and last season, just brilliantly painful.
Absolutely.
So good.
I'm like, how are they even going to top this? And what? That's pretty.
Dude, when you see in the opening of this last episode, again, it was one of those. There's two moments in the episode that just like, what the fuck? And the first one happens in under the first minute. So get your shit when you get on the couch, turn off your phone and watch. And it's another one of those. Oh, what? It was so fucking.
I mean, I can't have my phone on when I watch them. I need to like completely focus on things.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you can fully be absorbed into that if you're staring at this all the time. It's like
now, and if I'm going to my phone, that means that whatever I'm watching
isn't holding my interest.
I don't care. It's like
Home
and Garden television. It's a fucking cooking show or some shit. And
that's different. But I mean,
right? Yeah. So the boys, that show. What's so funny is so that's shot in Toronto, right, where I'm from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they had so the Vought building, right?
Yeah.
So the bottom of the Vought building is real. It's called Roy Thompson Hall, and it's got that big sort of sweeping movement, and it looks like an upside down ice cream cone.
Yeah.
If you go online and you look up Roy Thompson Hall in Toronto, it's this beautiful glass hall for playing music and this the orchestra, this symphony.
No
and
shit.
Then they've added the rest of it in post.
That's amazing, man.
But they had sent me an audition for Billy Butcher.
No shit.
And come the fuck on, dude. So I read that audition and I knew it was a comic book, and then I went through the research of finding out the comic book, and I called up my reps. I was like, I'm not fucking auditioning for this. And they're like, why, man? Why? It's taking place in Canada. I'm like, I'm not 6'5", and I'm not 220 fucking pounds. And I'm not a movie star. I'm a character actor. What you have going on right now is a waste of my fucking time. And what they're doing is, and they have to do this, when they shoot in Canada, they have to put roles out for Canadian actors to audition for, but you fucking know they're not going to get it. I mean, I produce movies. If I was producing The Boys, I wouldn't put Zack Ward as Billy Butcher. I put Carl fucking Urban as Billy Butcher because he's an international name movie star and he's fucking awesome at the job.
I just watched another Dredd sequel, man. He was so fucking awesome as Dredd.
Right? Dude, that was such a great movie.
You don't even know how disappointed I was, dude. I've been a Dredd fan since I was a kid. I went to the theater to see it. I'm so excited because I'm like, finally, we might get one that's not fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was fucking great. I'm like, there was only 3 people in the fucking theater. I'm like, then I tell everybody I know, oh, yeah, okay, I'll go get to it. And then they never do. And now it's like, come on video. It's a cult classic. Everybody loves it. And we're never going to see another one.
No. Such a great film.
I get so upset with people. If you talk about how much you love this shit, you got to go and support this shit rather than do this. It's like,
exactly.
Oh.
I wanted to go see Tenet. Did you go see it?
Well, honestly, man, theaters just reopened here like a couple weeks ago, so not really. I mean, and it wasn't playing at my drive-in locally. Normally, I've been going to the drive-in since they opened. I've seen a lot.
No kidding.
This is the era of the drive-in now, man. The only good thing about all this shit that happened is it made people appreciate the drive-in again, because I've got to see some really great films that I probably never would have got to see otherwise, like The Wretched. What do you call it? What was that one? Was it Remnant? Yeah, I don't know, but it was about an old lady and like her. Relic. I got to see Relic. That was a really good film.
I don't know that one.
It was about this mom and daughter, and like they went out because I haven't heard from her mom in a long time. She like lived out in the middle of the fucking boonies, and she was acting real weird, like she's like taking over by like this spirit or something. It was pretty cool, man, and like. I hear they've been getting all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm like, I love that because I hate the fact that indie films never get any recognition among everything else. Like everything's such a super mega fucking Hollywood blockbuster suckfest. Yeah. Like that's all you see, and like you don't ever get to see. I think those films are far superior than anything you could go and see. I mean,
it's a different
dollars. I mean,
there are some great giant blockbuster films, absolutely, but
yeah, they're fun. I mean,
it's just hard to compete financially with the amount of marketing that the studios can put behind it. They just, it's.
I feel like you brought up a good point earlier, and I feel this way. Like, I mean. If you have that amount of money to put into a film, of course it's going to be fucking great. You have no, there's nothing to work for.
There's no excuse.
It better be, because but when you have them little indie films and everybody's working together and they're fucking working towards this goal, and everybody's, you got this little, you got to figure out ways to utilize your budget. I mean, That has way more heart and fucking.
It's the one that I'm doing right now. It's called Patsy Lee and the Keepers of the Five Kingdoms, and James Hong is one of the stars of it. James Hong is, he was Lo Pan in Big Trouble in Little China.
That's awesome, man.
And he's 92 years old, a raging pain in my ass.
How did you land him, man? That's
well, he's one of the investors, and he had come to my producing partner to work on this project, and the original script was so fucking horrible, dude. It's supposed to be a G-rated kids family film. I read it 4 times. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. Made no sense. Made no sense. I'm not stupid. I've read a lot of scripts in my life, and I had no concept of what was happening. And in his, he literally had teenage kids smoking. Now, just between you and I and the rest of the world, the MPAA, if you have anyone smoking in a film, it's an automatic R rating.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So remember in Deadpool 2,
yeah,
he starts off with a cigarette?
Yeah.
That's because it's an R-rated film.
Shit.
You smoke a cigarette in a movie, it's an automatic R rating.
I never knew that, man. I knew they had the kooky guidelines, but that's definitely that's
right. You can say shit. I think you can say fuck once or shit once to keep it PG-13. Have you watched Cobra Kai?
Dude, I watched Cobra Kai back and it was on YouTube, and I tried telling the whole world about how great Cobra Kai was, and nobody gave a shit. Now everybody's like, fucking Cobra Kai, man. And I'm like, yeah, no shit.
It's really good. It's really
so good, man. Oh my God, I love it.
I totally feel like
I even like the new Bill and Ted. I thought that was pretty decent.
I haven't seen that yet. Was that good?
Hey, you know what, man? For how was it, 30 years ago? I mean, they actually did a pretty good job of kind of giving you them feels again. Like I thought. I mean, it's not a big film, but I had a lot of fun. I thought it was fun.
I wanted to watch it, but for $20 on the television, I'll wait till it's down to $6.
I don't think it's worth 20. I think it is definitely probably worth 6.
Right.
That one.
So the movie that I'm directing right now, Patsy Lee and the Keepers of the Five Kingdoms. The original script was horrible, didn't make sense. Like I said, they had kids smoking, and then they also had which you can't do. And then they literally the bad guys in it take a 14-year-old girl, stick a bag over her head, and put a gun in her face. And when I told that to one of my friends who had a kid, he was like, "What? Oh no!" Like he got so mad he walked away. And so we did a full rewrite of the script, and we've got this thing. It's really cool, man. It's got it's like Big Trouble in Little China meets the Goonies.
Ooh,
they end up going into this. Yeah. Thank you. They go to a magical world, but it's based on Chinese mythology, and there's animatronic full puppeteered creatures, and there's little people in animatronic heads, and there's hopping vampires and warlocks, and it's a lot of practical effects. Then blended.
See, I love that. That's what I missed. The people don't do enough conventional effects anymore.
It's a pain in the ass. It's hard, and this is an ultra low budget film, which means, I work on it for free, basically. So, but it's looking beautiful. I'm very excited about it. That's something I
look forward to seeing that. Do you think?
Yeah, I think you're gonna dig it.
When will that be done? Do you know?
Hopefully by the end of this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
For that. Let me ask you this. Is there a certain mindset that you ever have to get in to play a certain role? Like, how do you do that? Is there anything you do to prepare?
Yeah, absolutely. Comedy, I try and stick with the emotion of the scene. Drama is a lot about, so what I mean is with comedy, it's this feeling of pace and it's an energy, how people interact with each other. For drama, I find that it's much more isolated. It's two people battling one another. And for me, it's a lot about the breathing technique to keep you centered and focused on your internal turmoil as opposed to responding as much to what the other person's doing. Because if you're crying about something, it's something that's real to you, not necessarily to them. Action, I just don't want to pull a hamstring. So, stretch, lots of stretching, and each role you prep for differently, depending upon how connected you are to character. Some of them are very easy, like playing Dave Scoville on Titus was became second nature to me. It was part of my personality, and it was just about sort of stepping past what I would usually consider appropriate lines of social behavior, and just Dave is kind of a fucking idiot. So it depends which kind of character you're prepping for. But yeah.
If you were cast in a film, would you rather be cast as a hero or the villain? Like, which one's funner to play? I would think the villain, right?
The villain is always a lot more fun to play. I mean, I'd love to be. I got to be the hero in Postal. That worked out.
Yeah, I love Postal.
Not a great movie. Could have been.
Not a lot of people do. I love it. I think it was awesome.
It was nice to be able to have the shot to be the hero one time as opposed to the goat. But I don't know. I like the bad guys, but it depends upon your hero. Could you be Batman? I'd like to be Batman. They've never had a redhead Batman, then they won't. But yeah, it depends.
I've seen some pretty bad Batmans, dude. I think they should probably give you a call.
I'm too old. I'm too old now.
Can you name me something everybody seems to love that you just can't understand why?
Oh, 2.5 Men. Fuck that show. What is that piece of garbage? I don't like.
What's his name?
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh no, can't stand the guy.
He's a reprehensible human being for sure.
I mean, the one thing he said that I love is I don't pay him to have sex. I pay him to leave. I think that's one of the most hilarious.
I guess he does have some lines.
Yeah. I do like the fact, like, if he could just do something about being a horrible human being and like just an entitled bazillionaire who does lots of drugs. I mean, there's something awesome that somebody out there does that. He's a walking bacchanal. You know?
I don't think there was any acting involved in that show. He just kind of walked in and was Charlie Sheen.
I fucking hated that show. Hated it.
What's the scariest dream you've ever had?
I have the falling dreams. I have the dreams where
I'm
falling. Oh, I fucking hate those, dude.
Did you ever hit the ground? Because they say, like, if you hit the ground, you'll die in real life or some bullshit like that. I hit the ground, and I'm still here talking to you. So.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I literally used to live at downtown Los Angeles on like the 9th floor in a warehouse type loft thing, and I had this balcony that was facing inwards towards the atrium. So there were other walls, and this one wall, like there are other apartments across here, and I was looking down, and so this wall here was open, so there's light coming in, but it created this weird optical illusion that gave a wacky sense of vertigo. And anybody who came to visit me, I checked with them to see if it was my brain thing, and they walked out to the balcony and be like, "Oh, look at this!" Yeah, and it's funny. I was like, "Okay, so it's not just me." It became this monster in my life, because as soon as I would think about that balcony, I would think about that view, and it would make my butthole pucker so hard that it would literally wake me up out of bed. Yeah. So I'm not good with the heights. Not good with the heights.
Have you ever had a supernatural experience?
No.
Like, that's good. Some people do, some people don't. That's okay. Let me ask you this: what's your favorite moment from working on Titus? How did you get into Titus? Did you know him previously before the show, or did you just?
No. I auditioned for it. I did a pre-read. A pre-read audition means that they're not sure if you're going to be good, so you read with the casting directors first. So the casting director is chosen by the producers and the director in order to find the actors, right? So It's the casting director's job to pick from the people that they know that they think would fit this character. If you don't know that casting director, or say you know that casting director, you auditioned for him before, but you never did comedy for them before, or say you've only done comedy, you never done drama, so they're not sure that you have the skill set for that job. So then they ask for something called a pre-read, which means you get to come in and do it just for the casting agents, and then they'll decide if they think you're right, and you might move forward. So I had seen the breakdowns on this, and I had gone around to my agents at the time, and I had a list of all the different roles. I was such a pugnacious little shit. And I was like, hey, what? Why? How come I'm not getting any of these auditions? How come? What the fuck, man? And one of my agents, Sue Old, at the time, she took the paper and she's like, well, this one went to a name. This one went to a name. Black kid, fat kid, Jewish kid, name. I don't know. Hold on, let me make a phone call. She picked up the phone, called Sheila Guthrie, who was the casting director, and said Zack Ward for the role of Dave. And then she listens and goes, would you do a pre-read? And I went, yeah, here's a pre-read. So tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow, 2:15. Great. All right, thank you. And that's how I got into the room, and I auditioned for it. And I was trying to do sort of sitcom-y vibe. And they said, no. Make it more like an independent feature film. I was like, okay. So I kind of threw away a lot of it. And then they're like, great, that's good. And then I got a call back for it. And then I went in, and that's when I went in and auditioned in front of Jack Kinney, Brian Hargrove, and Christopher Titus. Jack Kinney and Brian Hargrove are the other writers and creators of the show with Christopher. And then that was my first audition with them, and then I got a call back, and another call back, and another call back. And then I went to studio, and then I went to network, and then I got the job.
Do you think there's a chance that we'd ever see a revival, say like Netflix or somebody repick that show?
I mean, Disney owns Fox. Fox owns Titus. Disney owns Hulu. I don't know why they wouldn't just throw it on Hulu.
It's such a good show, man. I mean, I've been watching that for a decade now.
Yeah. It's
I'm by now. Not I see. Tell me they have a hard time getting a hold of it. I mean,
I had people tell me that they spent a couple of years to find all 3 seasons, and they spent close to $1,000 on.
If you go on Amazon, I've seen them go for like $300 a pop. So
right, that's insane.
And I'm like, wow, I'm glad I got mine back when the day. So
yeah. So I mean, it would be great if they put it out there. It wouldn't make me. I would probably get a residual check for 12 cents, but it's not about that. It's a great show.
You're brilliant on there, by the way. You're definitely one of my favorite characters. But
thanks, man.
Going back for the reunion show for you, like, what was that like? I mean, was it easy to get back into the Dave character?
It was. I'll tell you, it was hard to look at the monitor because in my mind, being Dave from 20 fucking years ago, and then looking in the mirror and being like, oh, this did not go so well for you.
Really? I don't think you look much different, man.
What's that?
I don't think you look much different.
Well, that's because it's a laptop camera and there's not a lot of high resolution, and I've lit it pretty well. So then I get to keep the mystique going on, you know? This is like a push-up bra for my face.
What's the hardest part about being an actor?
Rejection, and the point of diminishing returns. So it's like you look at your career, and I've been blessed to have some really iconic roles in iconic films. And then you get to a certain point and nobody gives a fuck. And what are you going to do? Are you going to like take your resume and go get yourself a real job? And someone's going to say, well, would you like to work at IBM? And you're like, yes, I was Dave Titus. You're like, how the fuck does that translate? You know, so you basically just get aged out of being relevant. And especially in the last 6 years where, you know, people are now, they cast things. The audience thinks that Hollywood is casting things for diversity. They're not. They're casting things with a diverse cast in order to get benefits financially. So there's dude. So the WGA, the DGA, that's the Writers Guild of America, Directors Guild of America, Screen Actors Guild, SAG. There's different tier levels, right? So if I'm going to make a low budget movie is considered 2.5 million and below. And I know that sounds like a lot of money to people, but when it's anyways, and I've made movies for like restoration was $80,000, right?
Are you serious? That was all that cost?
Yeah. Oh,
wow,
and
man, that's awesome.
My soul. Yeah. So now you get to make it $2.5 million, your independent, low budget film. But if you put X amount of cast is this color or this sexuality, then you can go up to 2.8 million. So there's a financial incentive. And I think it's interesting to me, like I think inclusion is fantastic when it's relevant to the story. Yeah. I never if I saw a TV show, so I have red hair and green eyes. Less than 2% of the world population has red hair and green eyes. If I saw a TV show where every other person walking around happened to have red hair and green eyes, I'd find it distractingly stupid. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If there was a realistic representation of the population of the country, then you would have X percentages this and X percentages that and X percentage of this. But they don't do that. And look, I grew up in the industry. I have a huge amount of gay friends and family, but I know that there's like less than 3% of the entire country is gay or LGBTQ. So making the wacky story point that someone happens to be gay, not only is it not realistic and becomes redundant, but it's also fucking boring. Like
yeah,
I'm one of those guys, like I really don't give a fuck what you do with your genitals. You don't hurt somebody, that's your goddamn business. But jamming it down my throat as if every other person in the world is transgender, and I go, no, they're not. They're not. Look at the numbers, and it's fine. That's great, but don't make it constantly be the thing that you're using to shock the audience. Don't do that to get that, oh my goodness, because really no one gives a shit anymore. And now you're just jamming an agenda. You're trying to virtue signal, but really what you're doing is you're using them as shock bait, which is insulting. And then also you're padding your pockets. You know, you look at The Boys. Well, let's go back to talking about The Boys.
Okay.
The fact that, so you're up to speed that Maeve, right? With Maeve?
Yeah, I've only just not seen this week's episode.
Right. So you know what happened with Maeve. And like,
yeah.
See, and here's the thing is, what I loved about it is it wasn't done like, dun, 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 she's gay. It was, she's keeping her relationship status secret because
she doesn't want her in danger.
Is a fucking psycho who will rip her in half, right?
Yeah.
That's the reason why she's got this tightness to her. It's not like, oh, gay. Who fucking
I agree, man. Like, I think that was done well in the fact that character is looked at as a character. Whenever you're saying they're doing the things that they're doing, we should be working hard for people just to be people.
And then you look at the rest of the show. It's like
whenever you do what they're saying they're doing, they're pointing out they're pretty much dividing people when we should be getting people together. And it's just I can't agree with you more. It's man. I didn't realize that shit goes on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I did an episode. It's so weird and gross. And it's same things like behind the camera. Well, we have to make we have to make the crews and the cast be more diverse. Okay, is it story relevant? Are you going to have people in 1940s Germany suddenly be Puerto Rican? I don't know. But also behind the camera has to be more diverse. And it was like, I grew up in Canada. There were women and people of color behind the camera my entire fucking career, whether it was on stage or whether it was on a camera crew, whether it was on a TV series. In where I come from, no one gave a fuck. Do your job, fuck off. And now, so I did an episode of American Horror Story. I did 2 episodes of them. I had this really cool role. It got cut into fucking nothing. Don't worry about it. And the woman who was the guest director, so when you're doing a series, they bring different directors out for different episodes. Very lovely woman. Did not know what she was doing. And to the point where she was setting up the camera, blocking the scene, and the DP, the director of photography, goes, "Oh yeah, no, Sarah Paulson will only be shot from the left side of her face." And the director's like, but I set this all up. And they're like, "Yeah, Sarah's not going to do that." Okay, so fine. So this woman did not have control of the set. She was you know,
she's more or less a name.
And so at the end, we finished wrapping it out, and that was her last day as well. And we shake hands and like, "Oh, great job, everybody. Thanks so much. That was fun." She's like, "Oh, I've never done anything like this before." I'm like, "What do you mean? Your first TV show?" She's like, "Well, yeah, first TV show. And also, I've never done any horror." What? Yeah, that was my reaction. What? You've never done any horror? Nope, I've never done any horror. This is also new to me. So what kind of stuff do you usually do? You know, like talking heads, pieces of life, sort of documentary style, mostly in New York, people talking in parks.
What?
So because she qualified as a woman, they saved money and brought basically this show pony. See? We hired a woman. See her vagina? We're good people now. Yeah. Pat the woman on the head. Yay, she did a good job. She didn't do a fucking thing, dude. The DP and the first AD and the line producer ran the fucking show. So I would have no problem if she was a woman, a little person, Aboriginal, transgender, lesbian, unicorn. If she had fucking shot great films and said like, "Oh, this is my first TV series." "Oh, really? What got you into this?" "Well, I shot this thing." "Oh, you mean the thing that was at Sundance or Cannes or holy fuck, I heard that was at TIFF. Dude, I saw the trailer for that. That shit was amazing." I don't care if it's a talking head on a tripod with every form of genitalia circling it and rainbow colors coming out of its fucking mouth, because it's done the job. But to bring somebody over, you know, a little documentary, slices of life, people talking, mostly black and white, in parks in New York. The fuck you say, bro? Fuck you.
I can't. I mean, I've always known this hypocrisies went on, but I didn't know.
Oh my god, dude!
Like, this has been the most man. You're.
It's like I get pissed off. I did a movie called Dark House. Okay.
And I remember Dark House. I've seen it.
What's the director's name? The big fat pedophile. And
the guy, Victor Salva.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing. So A, I apologize to everybody for doing that movie. B, when someone tells you that someone was a pedophile, it kind of makes and you're about to meet them. It's like, wait, what? Oh. And they're like, yeah, it was a thing. And he
was on Clown House, didn't he? Molest?
Yeah, something like that.
House,
and he went to jail for it. But, you know, Martin Scorsese was his mentor. So you're like, it's weird because your brain goes, well, I know who Martin Scorsese is, and we all respect Martin Scorsese. So is Martin Scorsese a friend with a pedophile? I've never heard that before. So something seems like it must be off. Like, we've all heard the story of the guy who takes a leak, who's drunk and takes a pee in the park, and then maybe falls asleep with his zipper undone, and a parent walks by with their kid, and then he's like, "Oh my God!" And the guy gets arrested for flashing his dick, and now is called a sexual predator, although all he did was fall asleep with his pants unzipped. We've all heard those stories. So you go, because also as a normal human being, you cannot imagine the desire or thought of being sexual with a child. So it's like, what is that? So I did this movie so you meet Victor Salva, and he is really, truly one of the most repulsive human beings I've ever met in my life. And then I do this film with him, and he's the laziest fuck I've ever seen. So lazy, so unprepared. And it's a $2.5 million film, and it's a piece of shit. That movie is fucking garbage. I'm ashamed to be in it. Now, I made a really good friend off of that, Ethan Smith. I love that guy. He's my heart. I adore him. So that's the best part of that film. But Victor Salva flushed $2.5 million down the fucking toilet and wasted everybody's time. And the reason it makes me angry is because I've produced, I've directed restoration, I've directed short films, spec pilots. This is my second feature. I produced Restoration Bethany and Don't Blink and Patsy Lee. I've written 9 movies that have been made and 1 TV series. And it's fucking hard. Nobody shows up and hands you a pile of cash or an opportunity or a link to a studio executive who goes, oh, you happen to be the right color or religious background that I approve of? Here's money. Here's the opportunity. How about it? Fuck you, dude. This shit is hard, it's brutal, and it's fucking lonely. So when you get the opportunity to have that shit all come together and you get to make a $2.5 million movie, you fucking kill it, bro. You go after it like it fucking matters. And he didn't. He treated it like he was there to get laid. And he tried to with these 14-year-old fucking kids again. It was so gross.
Are you serious?
I shit you not, bro.
Holy fuck, man.
Dude, he had these local kids who were shooting in Mississippi.
These motherfuckers never learn.
Bro, I turned to the producer. I was like, that child has to get the fuck off the set. Oh, he's just hanging out with Victor because he's a fan. I'm like, the fuck he is. Victor's got his hand on his shoulder and is rubbing his neck the way my wife rubs my neck when we're just watching TV. That's a level of familiar physicality that is not fucking appropriate, okay? And I was like, dude, you remove that kid from this fucking set now, or I literally will take a baseball bat to your camera and fuck you. Like, it was just repulsive. That was disgusting. And if you get a chance to see the movie Dark House, everybody, steal it because it's not worth paying anything for, and watch how it's an absolute piece of shit. And it's all because Victor Salva.
I've seen it. It's pretty bad. I mean,
it's fucking horrible because he did not give a shit to prepare for anything. Literally would show up to set and be like, oh, so what are we doing now? What are we doing?
What?
What? No. I just that's my attitude. Is like it's a huge amount of magic, perfect storms that have to come together for you to have the opportunity to do this thing that you dream of accomplishing. And look, it's hard. And so when you get that chance, you know you're taking on a huge responsibility, and you owe it to yourself and the people who have given you this chance to really make it matter. And just like I said about Carl Urban, you know what? I'm not the right guy to play Billy Butcher. Fuck off. Carl Urban? Yes. I would not put myself in the way of that egotistically and be like, well, I could be anything. No, and nor should I. So when I get the opportunity to do something, I take it seriously and I commit to it 100%. I look at the situations we're dealing with where that poor woman who directed American Horror Story, why? What the fuck was she doing there? It's just gross. So many other people had fought to earn their stripes, and I'm sure there were a lot of qualified women and men of color or whatever. I don't give a fuck whatever they do with their junk or their skin tone. I'm sure there were a lot of more qualified people who should have gotten that job than that poor woman. But the thinking, it's a lie. As they say in the video game Portal, the cake is a lie, man. And it's just, it divides people, and it just makes stupid camps, and it's fucking dumb. Yay, good interview. Sorry.
Oh my God, dude! I mean, it's definitely been eye-opening to me. I mean, I've always known this is going on, and I'm glad I'm hearing this. Like, it's I'm glad. I hope a lot of people hear this so they can change their way of thinking, man. Like, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. Hopefully, people. I'm sure my Twitter following will go down to 0 now.
Well, for telling the truth.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, this is the time. This is the time. This is the time where people just can't handle the truth anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody wants to have smoke blown up their ass, and you know,
Yeah.
we live in a society where comedians get fucking scolded for telling jokes anymore. I mean, nobody can tell a joke. Nobody can.
It's people want to be entitled. They get excited by being angry.
Yeah.
And they confuse. Oh yeah. Here's a saying that I came up with. People confuse drama with action, and what I mean by that is the emotional drama. They confuse that with actually doing something, because you're not actually fucking doing anything. Writing a script, building a house, baking a cake, fixing your car, painting a painting, making something out of nothing. That's doing something. Talking about how you feel about it and how angry you are.
I couldn't.
That's not doing anything.
That's all anybody does anymore is talk.
Yeah.
There's all talk and no action. We used to be a society that was all action and very little talk, and I don't know where we're wrong, but
I think it started with the Ricky Lake in the 80s. Ricky Lake and the Jerry Springers, where everybody's like, but this is my truth. This is how I feel about it. No, you don't understand. And people had to be like, okay, I hear you. It's just like giving the dumbest motherfuckers the ability to speak their mind as if they have as if their opinion has any fucking merit, but they haven't earned it. It's like the entire world has turned into the movie Idiocracy. Like, do you remember what?
Time ago. Oh my God! Oh my! How scary it is. Everything in that fucking movie has come true.
Everything.
Like I've been saying that for years now. It's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine when you first seen that film? And it was funny because all that shit was ridiculous, and you never thought it would happen. And that's why it was funny.
Yeah.
It's all happened, and it's not so funny anymore.
It's Idiocracy meets 1984, and it's just fucking weird. Yeah.
Well, switching it up here, man. I wanted to ask you. You had mentioned, writing and directing and acting and all this. What do you think is the most fulfilling to you to do?
They're very different. Writing is incredibly satisfying, incredibly difficult, incredibly annoying, and sometimes it's just fast and furious and incredible. It's also the thing that can be the loneliest and the freest, because you don't need anybody else to help you. You can write on your own and come up with stuff and jam it out. And you talk in concepts and ideas. You're working in concepts and ideas that don't require a team to execute it. Directing is hard, especially at the budgets I work at as a director, trying to solve problems and make them work for the film. But it's also incredibly satisfying because there are those moments where everything just kind of blends and becomes this perfect spark, and you and the entire crew feel it. That's a neat experience. You have the same thing as an actor. Like, I've always loved that. As I grew as an actor, and I think I started earning my stripes and feeling more confident in my skill set when it came to emotional ranges and the level of honesty that I was comfortable in expressing. There's always this experience where you walk onto a film set or a TV series, and people are polite because they're people, and you do a couple of things that they're just small little, like, oh, he went that away, or blah 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 blah, see you on Tuesday, and they don't have a lot of grit or meat to them. And then you do that scene, which, if it's a TV series, it's usually the one that you audition with, and you get to tear shit up. And it's always fun that when I'd finish something like that, you could feel the shift in the crew. Whereas before, they're like, oh, hi. Now they're like, hey, man, good job, good seeing you. And you feel the difference, the respect level change, and how that's, as an actor, that's a lot of fun. They're all different. They have their own pros and cons,
Two more questions for you, man. I'm going to let you go. I'm thankful for sticking this out for me, man. It's been incredible. But I want to ask you, what in your body of work thus far are you the most proud of?
Most proud of?
Yes.
Again, okay, so I love Christmas Story, obviously, but proud, I feel more honored than proud because I was 13 years old, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not like I knew what the fuck I was doing.
Mhm.
It's that Bob Clark got what he wanted out of me, and he knew how to do it because he was a good father and a smart man. So am I proud of it? I think I was lucky, to be honest with you, and I'm grateful that I did the job that was needed. Um, Titus, I'm definitely proud of. I think I brought things to the character of Dave that were original and rare, and that a lot of that came from the writing. First off, but I feel like they really gave me a platform on which I could try things and take some risks, and that's something I'm really really proud of. Movies that I've written. I've been proud of the scripts. Sometimes the movies that they made, they turned out to be just garbage. That happens. Restoration. I'm proud of Restoration. You know, did you see Restoration?
A long time ago, yeah. That was
Okay.
2016, 17.
Yeah, 2014.
Oh, was it even that long ago?
Yeah, but you know, my mom's.
That's the one with the spirit, right?
No. I know
They move into the house and they're fixing.
Yeah, that's Restoration.
Like
Sorry, that came out like 2016. You're right. With the little girl spirit.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
and
and a horror, and the crazy old woman in the insane asylum. That crazy old woman's my mom.
What?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
dude. If you watch that again, look at the job that she does. Like single tear coming down the face, heartbreaking moment, just so raw. It was so that's something I'm really proud of, is that I got to work with my mom as her director.
So it came full circle.
Yeah, that was super
man.
cool.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
That's neat, right? What am I proud of? My relationship with my wife.
That's awesome, man. I'm getting married next month.
Hey, congratulations.
Thanks, man. We're actually getting married in the cemetery where Night of the Living Dead was filmed in Evans City.
The what now?
The cemetery where Night of the Living Dead was filmed.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And then there's a little castle, like in my hometown. It's like a functional castle, but it's like a golf course / restaurant.
That's great.
So, it's funny. I got my I have a graphic artist. He printed out our invitations, and it's us, you know, with tombstones, dead, like the death do us part, and everybody.
That's great.
They didn't know, although some of them wasn't sure if it was real or not. So that kind of, but yeah.
Well, as they say in Israel, Mazel Tov, my friend.
Yeah, we're looking for
whatever.
Thanks, man.
That's great. That's great, dude.
In closing, man, do you have any words of encouragement in this very crazy time?
Yeah, create shit. And here's the thing: is it's not going to be great, but what I think is the most amazing opportunity, especially now, you got a cell phone that you can shoot stuff on. You got YouTube you can put it up on. You got editing that you can have on your laptop. The software is almost free, for Christ's sake, if you know, with Premiere Pro. But create something. Don't be gun shy. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Start something knowing that you're going to edit it and tweak it out and make some changes. Don't look at a blank screen and think that it has to be perfect. If you throw a turd at the wall, once it sticks, you can shape it. So don't worry.
I don't think I'm ever going to look at my turds the same again. Thanks, man.
It's like,
I like that.
So just because here's the thing: is the satisfaction and the joy that you get from creating something outweighs anything that you can buy, and you will basically be loading up your joy quota higher and higher and higher and higher. You will never regret trying. Oh, and this is a great book, by the way.
I think you should write a book, man. You're full of interesting stories.
So this book, does this come in backwards? Were you looking at it?
No, that's perfect. Memoir.
Okay. So this is a Stephen King book, but it's not a horror book. It's a horror story. It's about writing. So it's called On Writing, a Memoir of the Craft. And I read this thing like 5 times. And whenever you feel intimidated by a process, like when you read that thing, it sounds like he's sitting down with you, having a beer with you, explaining how he did what he did and how you can start doing anything. And I don't think if you're going to start, you don't need to write a book. You could write a short story. You could film something that's 30 seconds long. Start small and try. But the act of creating, no matter what it is it's hard, but it's satisfying. Destroying shit is easy and it leaves you feeling empty. Building something in any way, shape, or form creates something magical in yourself and the people you share with. So if you got the time, fucking do it.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for being with me here. Let me ask you one more thing before you go. What's next? Sure. Can you name me some things that's coming up? I mean, you talked about the one already. What else we got going on?
I'm writing a script, a book adaptation right now for a book called Going Home. It's kind of you can look it up. It was on the top 10 bestsellers list. So a friend of mine brought me into that project, and I'm writing it to turn it into a series / movie, and also direct the movie that would hopefully be episode 1 and 2. So I'm writing that, and then I'm posting my film Patsy Lee and the Keepers of the Five Kingdoms, and my dad has Alzheimer's. So if anybody out there is starting to deal with Alzheimer's, keep your eyes open as your parents hit their 50s.
My fiance's mom has Alzheimer's, and my mom has MS, and I feel like she's kind of getting to that point. So I could totally relate to that.
So yeah, if you see it coming, do what you can, because it's so. I mean, I know that's not a happy thing to talk about. It's life.
It's a necessary thing, though. I mean,
yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. But the farther you see it in advance, maybe you could try and do something.
There you have it, folks. The man, the myth, the legend, Zack Ward. Thank you so much for doing this, buddy. It's an honor, and I've always wanted to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for this. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother.